everyone, and welcome back. I cannot believe we are already at part 3 of our 4-part series on emotional intelligence. If you haven't joined us for the first 2 sessions, they are really foundational. Each one of these builds upon the next. So I want to invite you to go back and watch session 1, which is on self-awareness, session 2 from last week, which is on self-management, and then of course I want to invite you today to part 3. So typically this is a half-day to full-day program that we do with our clients. It includes a workbook and an EQ assessment. But because we are going through such a just really bizarre time in our life and making history like never before during this COVID-19, we wanted to extend this opportunity to learn more and expand your knowledge in emotional intelligence at no cost. So this is an abbreviated series on emotional intelligence, and we hope that it is powerful and meaningful to you in your personal life as well as your professional life. We welcome your feedback. Please share it with us. And also, if you like the videos, we hope that you'll share it with others. So let me take just a moment to introduce myself. My name is Michelle Braden. I'm the president and CEO of MSBCoach. MSBCoach stands for Managing Successful Balance in Business. We're a boutique executive and high potential leadership coaching firm and team building firm located in Charlottesville, Virginia. We do both national and international work, and I will be the one leading you through part 3 today of this 4-part series. So as an overview, what we're going to talk about today, first we're going to do a quick review of the 4 areas of emotional intelligence. Then today's focus, which is defining social awareness, practicing social awareness, the benefits of social awareness. We'll do a quick review, and then we'll talk about our homework from the last 2 sessions, as well as how it builds upon today's session. Now, I know for timing, it's nice to know about how long something will take. Today's session will take us just about anywhere between 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how much you pause and engage in the different activities. So for a quick review, the 4 areas of emotional intelligence that we have focused on in this series is, first of all, self-awareness. Second, self-management. Today's focus, which is social awareness. And then the last in our series, which we'll focus on next week, relationship management. So let's define social awareness. I want to invite you to take just a moment. What does the word social awareness mean to you? Take just a moment and jot that definition down. Pause the recording if you want to. So social awareness is the ability to increase our understanding of other people's emotions based on recognizing situations, reading body language, nonverbal cues, and emotional feedback. So the first 2 series that we did of self-awareness and self-management were really the fingers are pointed inward. They are all about us. Now we're going outward and we're looking, what are we observing in other people? So we're graduating, so to speak, to a whole nother level of observing others. Social awareness allows us to understand how others view us and how you perceive them. Next, social awareness provides the capacity for empathetic and sympathetic connection with individuals, as well as your involvement in the group experience. So if you find yourself out to dinner, in a social engagement, or around the boardroom table and you have nothing to say, you are not speaking up. Now, you may find excuses of, well, everybody else is talking and they're talking over each other, or I just don't want to interrupt, or I just am not sure what to say. How are you showing up socially to those around you? Or just the opposite. What if you are dominating? You're doing most of the talking. You are showing that you're the smartest one in the room, even if you have a lot of great ideas, whether it's at that social gathering or that boardroom. What might your social impact be on others? So by taking the time to be aware of this, we are becoming socially aware of what's going on around us and our impact on others. You walk into a room and people are quietly whispering. Do you just assume that they're talking about you? Or do you assume that there's something personal going on that they just wanted to share privately together? It allows us, again, to pause and to be aware of what is going on around us. Or likewise, you walk into a room and you're feeling really sad, and everybody else is celebrating and feeling really happy. How can you, going back to what we talked about in our other 2 sessions, how can you be self-aware to manage yourself differently in that situation so you are socially connecting rather than being the downer in the room? So just a few things for us to think about in how we define social awareness. So in practicing social awareness, now you'll notice here I have a picture of this adorable little baby, and I can really express that because this does happen to be my grandson, so I'm sure I have my own biases there, but I do think that that's a pretty precious picture. Now, if you notice with babies, when you're waiting in line and there's a mother or a father or just a caregiver in front of you holding a baby, you can see even from the time we're infants. Now, I know there's exceptions to this, but in general, from the time we're infants, we are aware of those around us. And we'll see babies either laugh or giggle, or we'll see babies cry when they look at people because they are being socially aware of what's going on around them. So we have these abilities. It's just that as we get older and we get busier and we get more important, sometimes we don't slow down enough to pay attention to them. So I really want to invite you to pay more attention, to practice your own social awareness of what's going on around you. So practicing social awareness, observe what is being said and what is not being said. So how do we observe what is not being said? What do you think about that? Oh, we watch body language, tone, inflection, pauses. Next, listen with your eyes, your ears, your heart, and your mind. We have a program that we facilitate called Conversational Oxygen that talks about the 5 elements of having effective communications. And the foundation of this program is listening with our eyes, our ears, our heart, and our mind. And I think this is also an important element of social awareness. Next, observe the body language of others and of yourself. You know, it's funny, my husband and I were talking just the other day that we had captured some pictures, this was before all of the lockdown happened, of a gathering, and there was a particular person there that always shows up very, very happy and very positive, but ironically, we captured them in some pictures, not even knowing it ourselves, and the facial expressions told the whole entire story. Now, we were trying not to tell ourselves stories, but we were picking up on some things just by facial expressions and body language. But also, what does your body language say to other people? What is it communicating socially? And is that what you want to be communicated? Next, as we already mentioned, observe the tone and the inflection. What is the person saying that, and what might they mean? Which we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. Listen for the meaning and not just the words. Something that's really important in practicing social awareness is recognizing how much people want and desire to be understood, even more than being right. Next, practicing social awareness really is about expanding our empathy and understanding for others. And as Stephen Covey says, seek to understand before being understood. So in practicing that social awareness, yes, it is very much about being aware of how you are impacting others, but it's also being aware of how others are impacting you, and then asking questions. Get curious if you don't understand or agree with where they're coming from. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another. It's listening with the ears of another and feeling with the heart of another. I love that quote. Some of the most powerful quotes are anonymous, aren't they? So what are the benefits of social awareness? Again, as we've talked about in the other 2 sessions, hey, what's in it for me? It helps to expand our empathy. And we expand our empathy, we expand our connections. We are social human beings. And this doesn't have anything to do with being an introvert or an extrovert. But as humans, we desire to be socially connected. You can see it happen when you observe now, again, before COVID-19, but you observe people sitting at a bar. If they are connecting, they may have been total strangers, but before you know it, they're leaning in towards each other. They're both taking a drink at the same time, crossing their legs at the same time, because we are just wired for social connection. So it allows us to have that connection, allows us to have empathy. It allows us to have sympathy for other people. Next, it expands our service orientation. So being aware that I'm not the only one impacted here. And I don't want to dive too deep in this because this is just a short abbreviated version, but the fatal attribution error, if you're not familiar with that, Google it. It's all about where we give ourselves the benefit of the doubt for the things we do, but we point the fingers at others. So I got the promotion because I worked hard. You got the promotion because you were a suck up. And that's just a very simple example of it. But recognizing, no, we're all working hard. My department's not working any harder than your department. I'm not working any harder than you are as a team member. We are all in this together. And so being socially aware of others around you, which then, of course, increases our organizational awareness. And in this case, where we're spending so much time at home, we could say increases our family function awareness. When we practice this area of social awareness, it greatly increases how others feel like they can trust us, because we're managing how we're impacting others and being observant and aware of that. And, when our intention and impact get out of alignment and we didn't intend to impact someone that way, then we can own it. And we can say, that was not my intention at all. What could I have done differently? Think about how that really grows trustworthiness when we do that. But likewise, when we observe others, if someone is feeling happy or sad or excited or sad, and we are intentional to practice empathy and sympathy and mirror those neurons with them, we build trust in relationships. And in doing this, we enhance those relationships, we deepen them, which really is the bridge that's going to lead us to part 4 of this series that we'll be talking about next week. So each one of these builds one upon the next, and is very important in order to do that. When your heart is really into something, when you are working from a place of heartfelt emotions like empathy, appreciation, and care, the result is more efficient management of the brain. Now, if you haven't checked out some of the work at the Institute of Heart and Math, I encourage you to do that. There's some great stuff there. So in review, we reviewed the 4 areas of emotional intelligence. Today's focus, which was defining social awareness. We talked about what we need to do to practice social awareness. I introduced you to my beautiful grandson. Just had to throw that in. We talked about the benefits of social awareness. Now we're doing our review. We're going to talk about our homework. So, our homework. What most stood out to you from your self-management homework last week? So if you haven't already done the time or taken the time to connect those dots and think about the highlights, I want to invite you to pause right now and just jot down 2 or 3 things. We don't need a whole book. Remember, I said in the beginning, keep it simple. Just jot down one, maybe even one thing that stood out to you from your self-management homework. Next, how can you apply what you have learned about yourself, how you manage yourself, how self-aware you are of yourself, to your own social awareness? What is one area? Remember I said last time, if everything's important, then nothing is important. So let's just focus on one. What is one area in which you will be intentional to be more socially aware? How will you know that you're making progress? And who will support you and help to hold you accountable? This last step is really important because we know that we're much more successful when we have someone there supporting us and encouraging us. Remember, this isn't what they want. This is helping to hold you accountable and support you for what you have identified you want. All right, that's it for today's session. Hopefully you'll join us next week as we wrap up this 4-part series on emotional intelligence. Here's my contact information. I would love to hear from you, would welcome and invite your feedback, as well as hope that you'll share this video series with others. Until next week, take care, be safe, and stay healthy. Bye-bye.